Imagine a massive book kept by an invisible accountant, a ledger so vast it contains the record of every human transaction since the beginning of time. In this book, every second of your labor is recorded with precision, every dollar stolen from you is noted with exact detail, and every kindness you extended without expectation is logged in permanent ink. Nothing escapes documentation. The accountant never sleeps, never takes a holiday, and never makes a mathematical error. This is what Ralph Waldo Emerson called the cosmic ledger, and it operates whether you believe in it or not. Most men spend their lives consumed by the gnawing worry that they won't get paid what they're worth, that their efforts will vanish into the void unrewarded. But Emerson discovered something that changes everything. It is impossible not to get paid. The universe itself is structured to guarantee settlement. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the great American sage and philosopher of the 19th century, penetrated one of the most profound secrets of existence when he articulated what he called the law of compensation. This was not mere philosophy or wishful thinking. It was his recognition of an iron rule embedded in the very fabric of reality. He revealed that the universe operates as a self-balancing equation, a cosmic accountancy system that cannot tolerate imbalance. For every defect that appears in your life, there exists somewhere a corresponding supply waiting to fill that void. For every loss you suffer, there is embedded within it a hidden gain of equal or greater value. Nature, Emerson observed, possesses an almost violent hatred of vacuums and an absolute intolerance for debt. The universe must settle the score. It is not a matter of if the books will balance, it is only a matter of when and how. The pain you experience when you feel cheated, when your work goes unrecognized, when your sacrifices seem invisible to the world, stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of how the cosmic accounting system operates. You have been conditioned to expect immediate payment, to demand that value given should result in value received within a time frame your limited perception can track. But the ledger operates on a different timescale, with a different form of currency, and according to mathematical laws that transcend human manipulation. When you give and do not immediately receive, you have not been cheated, you have made a deposit. When you work and see no reward, you have not wasted your time, you have accumulated credit. The promise of the law of compensation is absolute. Every ounce of genuine effort, every moment of authentic service, every sacrifice made in integrity will be compensated with mathematical precision. What would change in your life if you knew with absolute certainty that you could never be cheated? What would you attempt if you understood that the universe itself is bound by law to repay you for every bit of value you create? This is the promise that Emerson extends to those willing to understand how the cosmic ledger truly operates. In this video, we will open the cosmic ledger and examine its entries with the careful attention of a master accountant. We will trace the lines of force that connect action to consequence, effort to reward, and service to abundance. You will learn why worry about getting yours is not merely unnecessary, but reveals a fundamental ignorance of how reality is structured. The anxious scrambling to ensure you receive your due, the defensive posturing to protect your share, the fearful hoarding to guarantee your security, all of this exhausting effort stems from not understanding that the system is rigged in favor of settlement, not theft. We will discover together how to leverage the law of compensation to guarantee that every ounce of effort you invest returns to you not merely equal, but multiplied. This is not about positive thinking or manifestation techniques. This is about aligning yourself with a law as reliable as gravity and as impartial as mathematics. When you understand how the ledger works, you will never again operate from a position of desperation or scarcity. You will work with the calm confidence of someone who knows the check is already written. It is simply a matter of time before it clears. The masters understood this. Emerson saw it with philosophical clarity. Wallace Wattles built his entire system upon its foundation. Florence Scovel Shinn taught its application in daily life. And now, you will receive the keys to a truth that transforms not just your approach to work and wealth, but your entire relationship with the universe itself. By the end of this exploration, you will never again doubt whether your efforts matter or whether justice exists. You will see that compensation is not a hope but a law, not a possibility, but an inevitability. The only question that remains is whether you will position yourself to receive what is already yours by cosmic right. Ralph Waldo Emerson begins his essay on compensation with a simple observation that contains within it the seed of a revolutionary understanding. The world is dual. Everything in nature exists in pairs of opposites, in complementary forces that define each other through their very contrast. There is darkness, and therefore there must be light. Without one, the other has no meaning. There is heat, which we can only recognize because we have experienced cold. There is the masculine principle, and it exists in eternal dance with the feminine. This duality is not merely a poetic observation, it is the fundamental structure of reality itself. North and south, positive and negative, expansion and contraction, the universe speaks in the language of polarity. But Emerson takes this observation far beyond the realm of physics or natural philosophy. He extends it into the moral and economic dimensions of human existence. If the physical world operates according to this principle of duality, why would the realm of human action be exempt? Every action, he teaches, has an equal and opposite reaction. This is not merely Newton's third law applied to mechanics. This is the governing principle of all existence. When you put out value into the world, when you create, serve, give, or labor, you have initiated an action, and the universe, being structured as it is physically compelled to generate the equal and opposite reaction. That reaction is your reward, your compensation, your payment. Consider the implications of this truth. You are not at the mercy of employers, markets, or economic conditions. You are engaged in a direct transaction with reality itself. When you perform genuine work, when you create authentic value, when you serve with integrity, you are not merely hoping that someone will notice and reward you. You are activating a cosmic mechanism that must respond. The universe has no choice in the matter. It is not a moral decision the cosmos makes to reward you. It is a mechanical necessity built into the very architecture of existence. To give value without receiving compensation would violate the law of duality, as surely as creating light without shadow or heat without cold. This is why Emerson could state with such confidence that it is impossible not to be compensated. The system is closed. The equation must balance. You are not petitioning a capricious God or hoping for the goodwill of other humans. You are engaging with an impersonal law that operates with the reliability of mathematics. If you plant a seed, the earth must produce a crop. It has no alternative. If you create value, the universe must generate compensation. It cannot do otherwise. The question is never whether you will be paid, but only when and in what form the payment will arrive. Yet most people live their entire lives without grasping this fundamental truth. They approach their work with anxiety, wondering if their efforts will be recognized, fearing that they will be overlooked or cheated. They watch others nervously, comparing their own compensation to what their neighbors receive, and they harbor resentment when they perceive inequity. But this entire mindset is based on a misunderstanding of the mechanism. You are not in competition with others for a limited pool of rewards. You are each engaged in your own individual transaction with the cosmic accounting system. Their balance has nothing to do with yours. Their payment schedule does not affect your own. Emerson understood that this law operates whether you believe in it or not, whether you understand it or not. Gravity does not require your faith to function. It simply operates. The law of compensation is equally indifferent to your opinion of it. But here is where knowledge becomes power. When you understand the law, you can work in harmony with it rather than in ignorance of it. You can position yourself to receive what is already yours by right. You can stop the wasteful expenditure of energy on worry, resentment, and comparison, and instead invest that energy in the activities that create greater deposits in your cosmic account. The beauty of this system is its perfect justice. You cannot game it. You cannot cheat it. You cannot manipulate it through clever schemes or deceptive practices. The ledger records not merely the external action, but the internal intention. It measures not just what you do, but what you genuinely give. A service performed grudgingly, with resentment or calculation, creates a different kind of entry than a service performed with wholehearted generosity. The universe reads the fine print of your motivations. It knows the difference between genuine value creation and mere performance. This is why shortcuts always fail in the long run, why schemes eventually collapse, why manipulation ultimately backfires. Every action you take is a cause set in motion, and every cause must have its effect. This is not philosophy. This is physics applied to the moral realm. When you work, truly work, creating something of value, solving a problem, serving a need, you have initiated a cause. The effect must follow. The compensation must arrive. It may not arrive in the form you expected. It may not arrive according to your preferred timeline, but it will arrive with the same certainty that autumn follows summer, that dawn follows night, that the tide returns after its retreat. This is why the wise man works without anxiety. He does not constantly look over his shoulder to see if the payment is arriving. He does not keep a nervous eye on his bank account, wondering if his efforts are being recorded. He knows they are. He knows the ledger is being maintained with perfect accuracy. He knows that the cosmic accountant never makes errors, and so he focuses his attention not on the receipt of compensation, but on the creation of value. He understands that one is the inevitable consequence of the other. Emerson invites you to see your life through this lens. Every hour you have worked, every kindness you have extended, every truth you have spoken when lying would have been easier, every sacrifice you have made for the sake of integrity, all of it is recorded. None of it is lost. The energy you have put into the world has not dissipated into nothing. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. And it will be transformed into the compensation that is rightfully yours. The universe is not careless with your deposits. It is not forgetful of your credits. The balance will be settled. Consider how this transforms your relationship with failure and setback. When things do not go as planned, when your efforts appear to produce no immediate result, when doors close and opportunities vanish, you are not witnessing waste. You are witnessing the redistribution of energy. The compensation that did not arrive through that particular channel is being rerouted, accumulated, and prepared to arrive through another. The ledger does not forget. The debt does not disappear. It compounds, it grows, and when the payment finally releases, it will reflect not just the original value you created, but the interest that has accumulated during the delay. This is the great secret that Emerson discovered and articulated for those with ears to hear. You are already wealthy. The wealth simply hasn't manifested yet in the form your limited perception can recognize. But it exists. It is real. It is recorded in the cosmic ledger. And because the universe must balance its books, because reality itself is structured as a self-correcting equation, that wealth must eventually materialize in your experience. Your job is not to worry about when or how. Your job is to keep creating value, keep serving with integrity, keep working with wholehearted commitment. The compensation is automatic. This is not faith in the sense of blind belief. This is faith in the sense of confidence based on understanding the mechanism. When you flip a light switch, you have faith that the light will illuminate, not because you blindly believe in electricity, but because you understand how the system works. When you create value, you can have faith in compensation, not because you blindly believe in cosmic justice, but because you understand the law of compensation. The light of understanding eliminates the darkness of doubt, and in that light, you can work with the calm certainty of a master who knows the system is rigged in favor of those who play by its rules. What would you do today if you knew with absolute certainty that every ounce of effort would be compensated? How would your work change if you understood that the universe itself has guaranteed your payment? Emerson is telling you that this certainty is not a fantasy. It is a fact. The only question is whether you will live as if you believe it. But Emerson does not allow us to stop at the comforting half of this equation. The law of compensation is impartial, and impartiality means it operates in both directions. If you must be compensated for every bit of value you create, then you must also pay for every bit of value you consume. If action and reaction are equal and opposite, then taking without giving creates a debt, as surely as giving without taking creates a credit. This is the iron logic that most people desperately want to escape but cannot. There is no such thing as something for nothing. The universe does not offer free gifts. Every advantage has a price. Every shortcut has a cost. Every theft must be repaid. Consider the person who builds their fortune through deception, who takes more than they give, who exploits others for personal gain. To the superficial observer, they appear to have beaten the system. They have wealth without effort, success without service, comfort without sacrifice. But Emerson would have you look more carefully at the ledger. The payment has not been avoided, it has merely been deferred, and like all debts, it is accumulating interest. The exploiter is not getting away with anything. They are taking out a loan from the universe, and the universe is a credulous lender. It will extend credit almost indefinitely, but it is not a forgiving one. The bill will come due, and when it does, the interest will be crushing. This is why Emerson teaches us that every deficiency in one manner is made up in another. If a person gains wealth through dishonesty, they will pay in reputation, in relationships, in peace of mind, or in health. The ledger will balance. Perhaps they will have money but no one who truly loves them. Perhaps they will have power but suffer from chronic anxiety. Perhaps they will have fame but live in terror of exposure. The universe is creative in its methods of collection, but it always collects. This is not moral philosophy. This is cosmic accounting. The books must balance, and they will balance whether you cooperate or not. The good news, and this is the liberating truth that Emerson wants you to grasp, is that there is also no such thing as nothing for something. If there is no way to gain without paying, then there is equally no way to pay without gaining. This is the half of the equation that most people fail to see when they are in the midst of sacrifice or suffering. They see what they are giving up, what they are losing, what they are sacrificing, but they fail to see the corresponding entry being made on the other side of the ledger. Every price you pay is simultaneously a purchase you are making. Every sacrifice is an investment. Every loss is clearing space for a gain. When you work at a difficult job for less money than you think you deserve, you are not merely losing time and energy. You are accumulating skill, experience, and cosmic credit. When you serve someone who does not appreciate your effort, you are not wasting your service. You are making a deposit that the universe will compensate even if that particular person does not. When you choose integrity over expedience, honesty over advantage, quality over speed, you are paying a price, but you are also making a purchase. And what you are purchasing is a debt that the universe owes you, a debt that must be paid with the same certainty that any other debt must be settled. This is why Emerson could face hardship without despair and loss without bitterness. He understood that the pain of the payment was simultaneously the joy of the purchase. He knew that if he had paid the price in labor, in study, in sacrifice, or in service, then the goods must be delivered. This is not a matter of hoping or wishing. This is a matter of cosmic law. The energy has been exchanged. The transaction is complete on the metaphysical level. All that remains is for the physical manifestation to catch up with the spiritual reality. But here is where most people stumble. They pay the price, they do the work, they make the sacrifice, and then they look around immediately expecting to see the reward. When it doesn't appear on their preferred timeline, they become discouraged. They begin to doubt. They wonder if the law is real or if they have somehow been cheated. And in their doubt, they stop working, stop serving, stop creating value. They abandon their investment just before it would have paid dividends. This is the tragedy that Emerson witnessed again and again. People who were 1 month, 1 week, 1 day away from the manifestation of their compensation, but who quit because they couldn't see the evidence yet. The compensation is not late. It is accumulating. Every moment that you have worked without seeing immediate reward has not been wasted. It has been compounding. The delay is not evidence of the law's failure, it is evidence of its precision. The universe is gathering the resources to compensate you adequately. It is marshalling the forces required to deliver what you are owed. And because you have been faithful in your service, because you have continued to create value, even when the rewards were not visible, the payment when it finally arrives will be proportionally greater. Think of it as a cosmic banking system. When you make a deposit, you don't expect to be able to withdraw it instantly at any branch at any time. There is a clearing period. There is a processing time, but during that time your money is not gone. It is secure. It is earning interest. And when you finally make your withdrawal, You receive not just what you deposited, but what it has grown into. The law of compensation operates on the same principle. Your efforts are not vanishing into a void. They are being held in trust by a banker who never fails, and they are accumulating value while you wait. This is the perspective that separates the master from the amateur, the wise from the foolish, the patient from the impulsive. The amateur demands immediate gratification. The master understands compound returns. The foolish person looks at their current bank balance and despairs. The wise person looks at the cosmic ledger and knows they are wealthy beyond measure, even if that wealth hasn't yet materialized in physical form. The impulsive person abandons their work when rewards don't appear quickly. The patient person understands that the longer the delay, the greater the eventual payment. Emerson is teaching you to shift your focus from the symptom to the cause, from the result to the action, from the reward to the work itself. When you serve, you have done your part. The compensation is not your responsibility. It is the universe's responsibility. Your job is to create value. The universe's job is to compensate that value. And the universe is far better at its job than you could ever be at trying to do it yourself. When you try to force the reward, when you scheme to ensure your payment, when you manipulate to guarantee your advantage, you're actually interrupting the very system that was designed to reward you. You're like a farmer who keeps digging up his seeds to check if they're growing. Trust the law, not with blind faith, but with the informed confidence of someone who understands the mechanism. The seed you planted is growing beneath the soil where you cannot see it. The work you have done is accumulating in the ledger where physical eyes cannot read it. The value you have created is being transformed into compensation through processes that operate beyond your limited perception. But it is happening. The law is working. The books are balancing. And when the harvest finally comes, when the manifestation finally appears, when the compensation finally arrives, you will see that every moment of patient faithfulness was worthwhile. This is the unshakable logic that Emerson offers to those willing to think deeply enough to grasp it. You cannot cheat the system, but equally, the system cannot cheat you. Every payment creates a debt. Every debt must be settled. The universe has no alternative but to balance its books. And because you have been making deposits faithfully, because you have been creating value consistently, because you have been serving with integrity continuously, the settlement, when it comes, will reflect the true total of everything you are owed. The cosmic ledger never forgets. The invisible accountant never makes mistakes, and the law of compensation never fails. Now we arrive at a crucial connection that bridges Emerson's philosophy with the practical system of wealth creation taught by another master of the mind, Wallace Wattles. In his revolutionary text, The Science of Getting Rich, Wattles provides what appears at first to be a simple instruction. Give every person more in use value than you take from them in cash value. This directive has confused countless readers who cannot understand the mathematics of such an exchange. How can you give more than you receive and still prosper? Doesn't this violate the basic principles of commerce and self-interest? Isn't this just another version of self-sacrificing morality dressed up in new language? But when you understand Emerson's law of compensation, the entire mechanism becomes crystal clear. Wattles is not teaching self-sacrifice. He is teaching cosmic leverage. When you give more in use value than you take in cash value, you are not losing. You are creating an imbalance in the cosmic ledger, an imbalance that heavily favors you. Think carefully about what this means. Every time you deliver a product or service that provides greater value than the price you charge, you have created a deficit in the cosmic accounting system. The customer has paid you in money, but the universe has recorded that they received more value than they paid for. This creates a debt that the customer cannot settle because they don't know it exists. But the universe knows, the ledger knows, and the universe, which cannot tolerate imbalance, must rush to fill that gap. This is why Wattles' advancing man, the person who gives more than they take, inevitably becomes wealthy. They are not succeeding because they are smarter or luckier or more talented than others. They are succeeding because they have learned to use the law of compensation as a lever. Every transaction in which they give more than they receive is like making a deposit in the cosmic bank. But unlike a regular bank where your deposits remain static, in the cosmic bank, these deposits create a vacuum that pulls wealth, opportunity, and advantage toward you with the force of natural law. The universe hates a deficit, it abhors an imbalance, and it will move heaven and earth to fill the hole you have created through your excessive giving. This is the secret that the greatest builders of wealth throughout history have discovered, whether they articulated it in these terms or not. They became obsessed not with what they could extract from others, but with how much value they could create for others. They competed not to charge the highest price, but to deliver the greatest value. They focused not on their profit margins, but on their customers' results. And in doing so, they created such massive imbalances in the cosmic ledger that the universe had no choice but to flood them with compensatory wealth. Wattles is the strategy. Emerson is the guarantee. Wattles tells you what to do. Emerson tells you why it must work. Consider the opposite approach, which is the one most people instinctively take. They try to give as little as possible while taking as much as possible. They look for shortcuts, corners to cut, ways to extract value without creating it. They negotiate harder to pay less to their suppliers. They deliver the minimum acceptable quality to their customers. They give their employers just enough effort to avoid being fired. And then they wonder why wealth eludes them, why opportunities dry up, why their businesses fail or their careers stagnate. They are operating in direct opposition to the law of compensation, and they are being compensated accordingly, which is to say, minimally. What they fail to understand is that when you take more than you give, you are not winning. You are borrowing. You are taking out a loan from the universe that will be called due with interest. Every dollar you extract beyond the value you created is a debt you now owe. Every customer you shortchange is an entry in the ledger that will eventually require settlement. Every employee you underpay while overworking is a cosmic debt accumulating against your account. And the universe is meticulous in its record-keeping. It will collect. Perhaps not today, perhaps not this year, but it will collect, and when it does, the payment will be extracted in ways you never anticipated and cannot avoid. This is why Emerson's teaching eliminates the very foundation of envy. When you see someone who appears to be prospering through dishonesty, through exploitation, through taking more than they give, you need not envy them. You need not wonder why the universe allows such injustice. You are watching someone take out a loan, and you are mistaking their borrowed prosperity for actual wealth. Their appearance of success is like a credit card with no limit. They can spend freely for a while, but the bill is coming. And because they don't understand the law of compensation, they are spending without budgeting for the inevitable payment. They are like someone who maxes out their credit cards and then celebrates their lifestyle as if it were sustainable. The wise person, the one who understands Emerson and Wattles, looks at such people not with envy, but with pity. They see someone who is enjoying a temporary advantage while accumulating a debt they cannot possibly repay when it comes due. They see someone who is living well today while guaranteeing their suffering tomorrow. And rather than feeling frustrated that bad people prosper, they understand that bad people are merely borrowing their prosperity from their own future, and the interest rate is usurious. The cosmic ledger will balance, and when it does, the reckoning will be severe. This understanding transforms your entire approach to business, to career, to service, and to life itself. You stop looking at what you can get away with, and start looking at how much value you can create. You stop negotiating to pay less, and start seeking opportunities to give more. You stop measuring your success by your profit margins, and start measuring it by the size of the cosmic debt that the universe owes you. Because here is what Emerson and Wattles both understood. The universe is a better payer than any human employer or customer. The universe has deeper pockets, more resources, and more creative ways of delivering compensation than any earthly institution. When you serve a customer by giving them more value than they paid for, you might collect your payment from that customer in the form of repeat business and referrals. But you might also collect your payment from an entirely different source, a new opportunity that appears seemingly out of nowhere, a windfall you didn't expect, a door that opens just when you needed it. The universe is not limited to direct compensation. It can pay you through any channel it chooses. Your job is not to dictate the method of payment. Your job is to create the imbalance that demands payment. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn, another master in this tradition, taught her students to ignore the boomerangs of others. She understood that each person has their own account in the cosmic ledger, and the state of someone else's account has no bearing on yours. When you see others apparently prospering through methods you consider unethical, she would tell you, do not watch their boomerang, watch your own. In other words, do not concern yourself with when and how the universe will balance their books. Focus on ensuring that your own account shows a massive surplus of value given, because that is the only account you can control, and that is the only account that will determine your compensation. Emerson takes this even further. He teaches us not merely to ignore the apparent success of those who violate the law, but to understand that their very success is the mechanism of their eventual downfall. The criminal who prospers becomes comfortable in their crime and thus continues it until they are caught. The businessman who builds wealth through exploitation becomes dependent on exploitation and thus cannot adapt when circumstances change. The person who takes without giving develops a consciousness of lack that eventually manifests as actual lack, regardless of their current bank balance. They are being set up for a fall by their own apparent success. Meanwhile, the person who gives more than they take is being trained in abundance consciousness. Even if their bank account is currently modest, their mind is rich. Even if their material circumstances are currently limited, their spiritual position is strong. They are building a foundation that can support any level of wealth because they understand the source of wealth. They know that money is not the cause of prosperity, value creation is the cause, and money is merely the effect. And because they are focused on the cause, they can generate the effect infinitely. They are not dependent on any particular customer, employer, or business model. They are plugged directly into the cosmic source of abundance. This is the bridge that Wattles builds from Emerson's philosophy to practical action. Emerson tells you that compensation is inevitable. Wattles tells you how to maximize that compensation. Emerson assures you that the universe will settle all debts. Wattles shows you how to put the universe deeply in your debt. Emerson explains the law. Wattles provides the technique for leveraging that law to create extraordinary results. Together, they form a complete system that is both philosophically sound and practically effective. You need both. The philosophy without the technique leaves you with comforting ideas but no method. The technique without the philosophy leaves you with actions that you will abandon when they don't produce immediate results, because you don't understand the underlying mechanism that guarantees their eventual success. When you combine Emerson and Wattles, you get the complete picture. You understand not just what to do, but why it works. You know not just how to create value, but why creating value must inevitably result in receiving wealth. You see not just the strategy, but the guarantee. And with this understanding, you can work with the calm confidence of someone who has cracked the cosmic code. You're no longer hoping that your efforts will pay off. You're no longer wondering if you will be compensated. You know with the certainty of mathematical proof that every ounce of value you create sets in motion a chain of consequences that must culminate in your compensation. The books must balance. The universe has no alternative. And because you are deliberately creating imbalances in your favor through excess giving, the compensatory wealth must flow to you with the inevitability of water flowing downhill. But there is another crucial dimension to this architecture that we must explore: the relationship between compensation and character. Emerson understood something that most modern success teachers miss entirely. The law of compensation does not merely reward actions, it rewards states of being. You cannot game this system through mere external performance. The universe reads not just what you do, but who you are. This is why two people can perform the same actions with radically different results. One creates genuine value and receives genuine compensation. The other performs the motions of value creation without the substance and wonders why the rewards don't come. This brings us to what might be called the consciousness requirement of the law of compensation. You must become the person who deserves the compensation before you can permanently receive it. This is not a moral judgment. It is a structural necessity. Imagine trying to pour an ocean into a teacup. The ocean exists. The pouring can be attempted, but the teacup's limited capacity prevents it from receiving what is being offered. In the same way, if your consciousness, your character, your understanding is not developed to the level required to receive and handle great wealth or success, the universe cannot give it to you. Not because it doesn't want to, but because you lack the capacity to receive and maintain it. This is why lottery winners often end up bankrupt within a few years. They receive money, massive amounts of money, but they have not developed the consciousness that can manage and multiply money. They have not paid the price in discipline, in financial education, in character development that would allow them to be proper stewards of wealth. And so the wealth flows through their hands like water through a sieve. The universe tried to compensate them, but they lacked the vessel required to hold the compensation. This is not the universe punishing them. It is simply the working out of natural law. You cannot receive what you are not prepared to receive. Emerson would say that these individuals violated the law by trying to receive compensation without creating the corresponding value. They wanted the result without the cause, the reward without the service, the wealth without the work. And while the lottery might have given them money, the universe will not allow them to keep money they did not earn through value creation. This is not moral, it is mechanical. The law of compensation is self-enforcing. It does not require judges or police. It operates through the natural consequences of consciousness. A small consciousness can hold only small wealth. A great consciousness can receive and multiply great wealth, and no amount of wishing or scheming can circumvent this truth. This is why Emerson places such emphasis on what he calls self-culture, the deliberate development of your own character, consciousness, and capacity. Every hour you spend improving yourself, educating yourself, disciplining yourself is not time taken away from earning money. It is time invested in expanding your capacity to receive money. You are not delaying your compensation, you are increasing it. You are not postponing your success. You are ensuring that when success comes, you can handle it without self-destructing. The universe wants to compensate you magnificently, but it cannot give you more than you are developed enough to receive without harming yourself. Think of it this way. The universe is not withholding your compensation. Your current level of development is determining how much compensation you can receive. Every time you overcome a character flaw, every time you develop a new skill, every time you expand your understanding, you are increasing your capacity. You are making yourself capable of receiving greater wealth, wielding greater power, handling greater responsibility without being destroyed by it. This is the secret meaning behind the phrase, "To whom much is given, much is required." It is not a warning, it is a statement of fact. Much can only be given to those who have developed the capacity to handle much. This explains the phenomenon that frustrates so many people. They work hard, they create value, they do everything right, and yet the breakthrough doesn't come when they expect it. They become discouraged, thinking the law has failed them. But Emerson would ask them, have you developed the consciousness required to receive what you are asking for? Have you expanded your capacity to match your ambition? Have you done the internal work that corresponds to the external work? Because the external actions are only half of the equation. You must also transform internally into the person who can receive, manage, and multiply the compensation you seek. This is why the masters always emphasize spiritual development alongside material success. Not because they were moralists trying to make you good, but because they were pragmatists showing you what works. If you develop only your skills, but not your character, you will create value but destroy yourself with the compensation. If you develop only your knowledge but not your wisdom, you will earn money but lose your peace. If you develop only your ambition but not your integrity, you will achieve success but find it hollow. The whole person must develop if the whole compensation is to be received and enjoyed. Emerson teaches that every deficiency in one area is compensated by a supply in another. This works on the level of character as well. If you are deficient in patience, you will be given circumstances that develop patience. If you are deficient in courage, you will face situations that require courage. If you are deficient in wisdom, you will make mistakes that teach wisdom. The universe is not punishing you with these challenges. It is developing you so that you can receive the compensation it wants to give you. Every difficulty is a training program. Every obstacle is a development opportunity. The universe is preparing you to receive by first preparing you to be capable of receiving. Consider how this transforms your relationship with difficulty and delay. When the compensation you expect doesn't arrive on your preferred schedule, you can now interpret this not as abandonment, but as development. The universe is not withholding your reward, it is expanding your capacity to receive it. The delay is not evidence that the law isn't working. It is evidence that the law is working on multiple levels simultaneously. You are being compensated, but first you are being prepared to handle the compensation. You are being paid, but first you are being trained to manage the payment. The invisible accountant is not slow, he is thorough. He is ensuring that when the settlement comes, you can actually enjoy it rather than be destroyed by it. This is the profound wisdom that Emerson brings to the conversation about wealth and success. It is not enough to know what to do. You must become who you need to be. It is not enough to perform the right actions. You must develop the right character. It is not enough to create value. You must simultaneously create yourself into the kind of person who can receive the compensation for that value without self-destructing. The external and internal must develop together. The action and the consciousness must align. The doing and the being must harmonize. And here is the beautiful part. As you develop internally, the external compensation accelerates. As you expand your consciousness, opportunities that were always there but invisible to your limited perception suddenly become visible. As you transform your character, people who could have helped you but sensed you weren't ready suddenly recognize your readiness and offer their assistance. As you increase your capacity, resources that the universe wanted to give you but couldn't because you would have mishandled them suddenly flow to you freely. The development is not separate from the compensation. The development is what allows the compensation to manifest. This is why the masters taught that you should never envy those who have wealth without character, success without integrity, or power without wisdom. You are watching someone who received compensation before they developed the capacity to handle it, and you are witnessing the slow-motion disaster that must inevitably result. Their wealth will corrupt them. Their success will isolate them. Their power will destroy them. Not because the universe is punishing them, but because they are like children playing with dynamite. The tool is not inherently harmful, but in the hands of someone unprepared to wield it, disaster is inevitable. Meanwhile, the person who develops their character while building their wealth, who expands their consciousness while creating their success, who deepens their wisdom while increasing their power, this person becomes unstoppable. They are not merely successful, they are sustainably successful. They are not merely wealthy, they are peacefully wealthy. They are not merely powerful, they are responsibly powerful. They have become the kind of person who can receive infinite compensation because they have infinite capacity. They have aligned their internal development with their external achievement, and in that alignment, they have accessed the full power of the law of compensation. Emerson is teaching you to think bigger. Yes, seek wealth. Yes, pursue success. Yes, aim for achievement. But simultaneously, seek wisdom. Simultaneously, pursue character. Simultaneously, aim for consciousness expansion. Because when you develop both dimensions in harmony, you become a magnet for compensation. You become someone the universe can trust with great resources because you have demonstrated that you will use them wisely. You become someone who can receive without limit because you have expanded your capacity without limit. You become the living embodiment of the law of compensation in action. Someone who gives endlessly and thus must receive endlessly, who serves continuously and thus must prosper continuously, who creates value perpetually and thus must be rewarded perpetually. Now we must address what Emerson considers one of the most counterintuitive yet crucial aspects of the law of compensation, the relationship between delay and multiplication. Most people, when they work and do not see immediate results, interpret the delay as failure. They assume that if the compensation has not arrived quickly, it is not coming at all. They begin to doubt the law, to question their efforts, and to consider abandoning their work. But Emerson reveals a truth that transforms delay from a source of discouragement into a source of excited anticipation. The longer the payment is delayed, the higher the interest accumulates. The universe is not slow. It is gathering resources to pay you with compound returns. Consider how this operates in the natural world, which Emerson always used as his teacher. A bamboo seed is planted, and for 5 years, nothing visible happens above ground. The farmer who does not understand the process would assume the seed is dead, the effort wasted, the investment lost. But beneath the soil, an entire root system is developing, vast, complex, and powerful. Then in the 6th year, the bamboo shoot explodes from the ground and can grow 90 feet in 6 weeks. Was the bamboo growing slowly for 5 years and then quickly for 6 weeks? No, it was growing the entire time. The first 5 years of invisible growth made the 6 weeks of explosive visible growth possible. Your compensation operates on the same principle. When you work and serve and create value and see no immediate reward, you are not witnessing the absence of compensation. You are witnessing the root system of your compensation developing beneath the surface of visible reality. The cosmic ledger is not idle. The invisible accountant is not on vacation. Resources are being gathered. Connections are being established. Opportunities are being prepared. Forces are being aligned. And when the moment of manifestation finally arrives, the compensation will emerge not as a trickle, but as a flood. Not as a modest payment, but as an overwhelming windfall. This is why Emerson counsels absolute patience combined with relentless action. You do not stop working simply because the rewards are not yet visible. That would be like the bamboo farmer digging up the seed in year 4 because he sees no shoot. The absence of visible results is not evidence of absence of actual results. It is evidence that the results are still being compiled, still accumulating, still gathering the necessary force to break through into manifestation. Your job is not to see the results. Your job is to continue creating the causes that will produce the results. Trust that the law is working even when you cannot see the evidence that it is working. But here is where the true power of this teaching reveals itself. The delay is not neutral, it is positive. Every day that passes without visible compensation is a day that your cosmic account is earning interest. Think of it as compound interest in the spiritual bank. If you had been paid immediately for your work, you would have received exactly what you earned. $1 of value created equals $1 of compensation received. But when the payment is delayed, the universe adds interest. The $1 of value you created begins to compound. By the time the payment actually manifests, that $1 has become $5 or $10 or $100, depending on how long the compounding period lasted. This is the secret that explains the phenomenon of overnight success. When someone appears to suddenly burst onto the scene with massive success, wealth, or recognition after years of obscurity, they have not suddenly become successful. They have suddenly become visibly successful. The success was accumulating the entire time they were working in obscurity. The compensation was compounding during all those years when they saw no rewards. And when the moment of manifestation arrived, the pent-up force of years of accumulated compensation exploded into their reality all at once, creating the appearance of sudden success to those who had not witnessed the years of patient accumulation. Emerson wants you to understand this so that you can work without anxiety during the accumulation period. The delay is not a problem to be solved. It is a process to be trusted. You are not being punished with delay. You are being enriched through compound returns. Every month that you continue to create value without receiving visible compensation is another month of interest accruing to your cosmic account. You are getting richer, not poorer. Your eventual payment is getting larger, not smaller. The universe is not forgetting you. It is preparing to overwhelm you. But this requires a fundamental shift in how you measure success. If you measure success only by immediate, visible, material results, you will become discouraged during the accumulation period and quit before the compounding has reached critical mass. You must learn to measure success by the quality and consistency of your value creation, knowing that the compensation is a mathematical inevitability even when it is not yet a visible reality. You must develop the ability to feel wealthy even when your bank account is modest, because you know that your cosmic account is massive. You must cultivate the consciousness of abundance even in the midst of material lack, because you understand that the material is merely the delayed reflection of the spiritual reality. This is not self-delusion or positive thinking disconnected from reality. This is a deeper understanding of what reality actually is. Reality is not just what you can see with your physical eyes or count with your calculator. Reality is also the invisible patterns of cause and effect, the accumulating forces of karma and compensation, the compound interest building in dimensions you cannot yet perceive. When you understand this, you can maintain perfect equanimity during the delay period. You are like a farmer who has planted his fields and now waits calmly for harvest, knowing that the crops are growing even though he cannot see the growth happening in real time. Emerson teaches that this understanding transforms your entire relationship with time. Time is no longer the enemy stealing your opportunities or the judge declaring your efforts futile. Time becomes your ally, compounding your returns, multiplying your compensation, increasing your eventual harvest. Every day that passes without visible reward is a day that your invisible reward grows larger. Every week that continues without material payment is a week that your spiritual payment accumulates greater interest. Every month that you persist in value creation without seeing immediate returns is a month that the universe is gathering more resources to pay you with when the moment of release arrives. This is why the masters could work for years, sometimes decades, before their message found an audience or their work gained recognition. They were not discouraged by the delay because they understood the compounding principle. They knew that every lecture given to a small audience, every book written that sold few copies, every truth spoken that seemed to fall on deaf ears was not wasted. It was accumulating. It was compounding. It was building toward the eventual breakthrough when their message would suddenly reach millions, when their work would suddenly be recognized as genius, when their truth would suddenly become obvious to all who had ears to hear. And when that breakthrough came, as it inevitably did for those who persisted, the compensation was not proportional to the final year of visibility. It was proportional to all the years of invisible accumulation. This is why Emerson could say with such confidence that it is impossible not to be compensated. The law is mathematical. The compounding is mechanical. The delay is actually increasing your payment. Your job is simply to keep creating value, keep serving with excellence, keep working with integrity, and trust that the invisible accountant is maintaining your records with perfect accuracy and crediting your account with compound interest for every day of faithful service. What would change in your life if you truly believed this? What would you attempt if you knew that every day of apparent failure was actually a day of invisible compounding? How would you work if you understood that delay is not denial, but accumulation? This is the gift that Emerson offers to those patient enough to receive it, the understanding that transforms frustration into anticipation, anxiety into excitement, and apparent setbacks into hidden advances. You are not waiting for compensation. You are accumulating compensation. The wait is not empty, it is full. The delay is not punishment, it is preparation for overwhelming abundance. But accumulation and delay are only half of the equation. Emerson provides another crucial instruction that determines not just when you will be compensated, but how magnificently that compensation will be. Put God in your debt. This phrase, which might sound religious or mystical, is actually a precise description of a cosmic leverage technique. When Emerson says God, he is referring to the universe itself, the cosmic ledger, the system of cause and effect that governs all reality. And when he says put God in your debt, he means serve so well, create so much value, give so abundantly that the universe is obligated to compensate you at a level that staggers the imagination. This is the advanced application of the law of compensation. The beginner understands that value given equals value received. The intermediate practitioner understands that value given with delay equals value received with compound interest. But the master understands that value given excessively, value given beyond all reasonable expectation, value given with such abundance that it seems almost reckless, creates a cosmic imbalance so massive that the universe must respond with overwhelming compensation. You're not merely earning a payment, you are creating an emergency in the cosmic ledger that demands immediate and extraordinary settlement. Stop looking at the paycheck. This is Emerson's direct instruction to you. The paycheck is the result, not the cause. The paycheck is the compensation, not the value. The paycheck is what you receive, not what you give. When you focus on the paycheck, you are looking in the wrong direction. You are measuring the wrong thing. You are optimizing for the symptom rather than the cause. The paycheck will take care of itself. It is automatic. It is guaranteed by the law of compensation. What you need to focus on is the work itself, the quality of your service, the magnitude of your value creation, the excellence of your contribution. Emerson is teaching you to develop what might be called service obsession rather than reward obsession. The person obsessed with rewards is constantly calculating whether they are being paid fairly, whether they are receiving adequate recognition, whether their compensation matches their effort. This constant calculation is exhausting and counterproductive. It is exhausting because it generates endless anxiety about fairness and adequacy. It is counterproductive because it diverts attention and energy away from the only thing that actually produces rewards, the creation of value. The person obsessed with service, on the other hand, is focused entirely on how much value they can create, how much they can give, how excellent they can make their work. They are not ignoring compensation. They are ensuring it through the only mechanism that actually works. They understand that the universe is a better accountant than they could ever be, and they trust the cosmic ledger to maintain accurate records while they focus on the only thing they can control, the quality and quantity of their service. This shift in focus from reward to service is not merely psychological, it is practical. When you focus on the reward, you inevitably limit yourself to doing only what is necessary to secure that reward. You calibrate your effort to match the expected payment. You give enough to earn your paycheck but no more. You meet the requirements but don't exceed them. You satisfy expectations but don't delight. And in doing so, you create an exactly balanced equation in the cosmic ledger. Value given equals value received. You earn your wage, but you never create the massive imbalance that would trigger extraordinary compensation. But when you focus on the service, when you become obsessed with excellence, when you compete with yourself to see how much value you can create rather than calculating the minimum required effort, you begin to create imbalances in the ledger. You deliver more than was paid for. You exceed expectations. You delight rather than merely satisfy. You solve problems that weren't even in the job description. You create value that no one asked you to create, but everyone benefits from. And every time you do this, you make a deposit in the cosmic bank that the universe must repay with interest. Emerson says, make the world unable to pay you back quickly enough. This is the goal. You want to create so much value, serve so excellently, give so abundantly that the universe is scrambling to find ways to compensate you. You want to put such a massive balance in your favor in the cosmic ledger that the accountant is working overtime to calculate how to settle your account. You want to create such an overwhelming debt in your favor that the compensation, when it finally releases, comes not as a payment but as a deluge. This is not about working harder for the same pay. This is about working strategically to create such massive value that higher pay becomes inevitable. The person who does exactly what they are paid to do will be paid exactly what they agreed to. But the person who habitually delivers double the value they are paid for will soon find themselves either promoted, offered better opportunities, or starting their own venture that allows them to capture the full value they create. The universe will not allow such massive imbalances to persist. It must balance the books. And when you are the one who created the imbalance through excessive giving, the balancing must come in the form of excessive receiving. This is the secret of rapid advancement. You do not advance by demanding more money for the same work. You advance by delivering massively more value than you are currently compensated for, thereby creating an imbalance that the universe must correct. You force the universe to either increase your compensation in your current position or move you to a different position where the compensation matches the value you create. You don't ask for a raise, you make a raise inevitable. You don't demand a promotion. You make a promotion the only logical solution to the imbalance you have created. Consider the implications of this teaching for every area of your life. In your business, stop calculating profit margins and start calculating value delivery. How much value can you deliver to customers relative to what they pay? Can you double it, triple it? Make it so disproportionate that customers feel almost guilty for how little they are paying. When you do this, the compensation comes not just from those customers, but from the universe itself, which will send you more customers, better opportunities, unexpected windfalls, and resources you didn't even know existed. In your career, stop thinking about what your employer owes you, and start thinking about how much value you can create for them. How can you solve problems they didn't even realize they had? How can you deliver results beyond what was in your job description? How can you make yourself so valuable that keeping you becomes their top priority? When you create this kind of imbalance, the compensation adjusts automatically. You either get promoted, recruited by a competitor at higher pay, or gain the confidence and resources to start your own venture. In your relationships, stop keeping score of who did what for whom, and start seeing how much value you can add to others' lives without expectation of immediate return. How can you serve your partner, your friends, your family in ways they didn't ask for but deeply appreciate? When you create these imbalances in the social and emotional ledger, the compensation comes in the form of deeper relationships, greater trust, and a network of people who will move heaven and earth to help you when you need it. Emerson is revealing to you the ultimate leverage. The universe is the wealthiest, most generous, most creative compensator in existence, and it is absolutely bound by the law of compensation to settle its debts. When you put the universe deeply in your debt through excessive service and abundant value creation, you have accessed an unlimited line of credit from the cosmic bank. You have guaranteed your compensation not from any particular source, but from reality itself. And because the universe has infinite resources and infinite creativity in how it delivers compensation, the ways you will be rewarded will exceed anything you could have imagined or planned for yourself. This is why Emerson could tell you to stop worrying about your paycheck and focus on your work. The work is the cause, the paycheck is the effect. Cause determines effect with mathematical certainty. Improve the cause, and the effect must improve proportionally. Create excellent causes, and excellent effects must follow. Put the universe massively in your debt, and the universe must compensate you massively. This is not hope. This is law. This is not faith. This is physics applied to the spiritual realm, and when you understand it and apply it, you step into a completely different relationship with wealth, success, and abundance. One where you are no longer begging for compensation, but commanding it through the magnitude of value you create. We must now confront what appears to be the most challenging aspect of the law of compensation, the nature of loss. When something valuable is taken from you, a relationship ends, a job is lost, a business fails, a possession is stolen, an opportunity vanishes, every instinct in your being screams that you have been diminished. The evidence seems irrefutable. You had something and now you do not. The subtraction appears absolute. The loss seems permanent. And yet Emerson insists on a truth so counterintuitive that most people dismiss it as mere consolation, rather than recognizing it as cosmic fact. Every loss brings a corresponding gain of equal or greater value. This is not poetry. This is not philosophy. This is the law of polarity in action. Remember that Emerson began his teaching on compensation by establishing that the universe is fundamentally dual. If there is darkness, there must be light. If there is cold, there must be heat. And if there is loss, there must be gain. They are not separate phenomena. They are opposite poles of the same phenomenon. Loss and gain are like the valleys and peaks of a wave. You cannot have one without the other. When you experience a valley, you are not being punished. You are being positioned for the inevitable peak that must follow. But here is where most people sabotage their own compensation. When the loss occurs, they become so fixated on what was taken that they fail to look for what is being given. They mourn so deeply what they no longer have that they blind themselves to what they now have instead. They grip so tightly to the memory of the past that they cannot open their hands to receive the gift of the present. and so the gain that the universe is offering them as compensation for their loss goes unrecognized, unclaimed, and eventually redirected to someone else who has the eyes to see it. Consider a practical example. You lose a job that you have held for years. The immediate experience is one of loss. Loss of income, loss of identity, loss of routine, loss of security. Every fear in your system activates. You feel diminished, vulnerable, perhaps even humiliated. But Emerson would have you ask a different question. What has this loss freed you to gain? You have lost a job, but you have gained freedom from that particular limitation. You have lost a salary, but you have gained time to find a better opportunity. You have lost security, but you have gained the motivation to create something more aligned with your true purpose. You have lost comfort, but you have gained the crisis that forces you to grow. The gain is always there, but it requires a different kind of vision to perceive it. You must look not at what you have been subtracted from, but at what you have been added to. You must examine not what was taken, but what is now available. You must consider not what has ended, but what can now begin. This shift in perception is not mere optimism. It is the practical application of understanding how the universe actually balances its books. The compensation for loss is not always obvious, not always immediate, and not always in the form you expected, but it is always present, always equivalent, and always accessible to those who know how to recognize it. Emerson teaches that the universe never takes something from you without simultaneously giving you something of equal or greater value. But here is the crucial caveat. The universe cannot give you the compensation if you refuse to release your grip on what was lost. Imagine trying to hand someone a new gift while their hands are still clenched around the old one that broke. The gift is available, the giver is willing, but the receiver's hands are not open. This is the situation most people find themselves in after a loss. The universe is holding out the compensation, but they are too busy grieving the loss to notice the offering. This is why Emerson counsels what might seem like cold practicality. Stop mourning the loss and look for the payment. This is not callousness, this is wisdom. The mourning itself is not wrong, but extended mourning that prevents you from seeing and claiming the compensation is a form of voluntary poverty. You are refusing to be compensated, not because the compensation is absent, but because you are so fixated on the loss that you cannot perceive the gain. The cosmic ledger has already balanced your account. The payment has already been deposited. But you are standing at the bank arguing about the withdrawal instead of claiming the deposit that is waiting for you. Consider the person who loses a romantic relationship and spends years mourning what ended, replaying what went wrong, clinging to memories of what was. They are not wrong to grieve. But if their grief prevents them from recognizing that this loss has freed them from a relationship that was limiting their growth, has created space for a more aligned partnership, has taught them lessons essential for true intimacy, then they are refusing their compensation. The universe has already paid them for this loss in the currency of freedom, learning, and opportunity. But they cannot collect the payment because their attention is entirely on what they lost rather than on what they gained. Or consider the entrepreneur whose business fails after years of effort. The immediate experience is devastating: loss of capital, loss of reputation, loss of the dream. But hidden in that failure are lessons worth more than the business itself. Lessons about market dynamics, about team building, about their own capabilities and limitations, about what truly matters to them. These lessons are the compensation. They are worth more than the failed business, because they will inform every future venture. But the entrepreneur can only collect this compensation if they are willing to extract the lessons rather than simply dwelling on the loss. The payment is there, but it requires active claiming. Emerson's teaching here connects directly to what Florence Scovel Shinn called the blessing in disguise. What appears at first to be a curse often contains within it a greater blessing than what was lost. But the blessing remains in disguise until you develop the perception to recognize it. The person who loses a job might discover their true calling. The person who loses a relationship might find their authentic self. The person who loses money might gain wisdom about wealth. The person who loses health might discover what truly matters in life. The universe is not cruel. it is educational. Every loss is a lesson, and every lesson is a payment for the price of the loss. But you must cultivate the consciousness that can perceive these gains. This requires what Emerson might call philosophical vision, the ability to see beyond the immediate and obvious to the deeper patterns of cause and effect. When something is taken from you, the first question is not why me or how can I get it back. The first question is what is being given to me through this loss. This question shifts you from victim consciousness to student consciousness, from passivity to active engagement with the law of compensation. You stop being someone to whom things happen and become someone who extracts value from everything that happens. Consider how this transforms your relationship with failure. Failure is simply a form of loss. Loss of the expected outcome, loss of a particular path, loss of a specific opportunity. But if every loss contains a corresponding gain, then every failure contains a corresponding lesson or redirection or preparation that is actually more valuable than the success you failed to achieve. The person who fails learns things that the person who succeeds never discovers. The person who loses gains resilience that the person who keeps never develops. The person who falls learns to rise in ways that the person who never fell cannot imagine. This is why Emerson could face his own losses, the death of his young wife, the loss of his position in the church, the criticisms of his contemporaries, without bitterness or despair. He understood that these losses were not subtractions from his life, but transformations of his life. They were not taking something away. They were reshaping him into someone capable of greater insight, deeper wisdom, and more profound contribution. The compensation was not always pleasant, but it was always present. The payment was not always immediate, but it was always accruing. And here is the ultimate validation of this teaching. When you look back on your life, you will often discover that what seemed like your greatest losses were actually your greatest gains in disguise. The job you lost that led you to your true vocation. The relationship that ended that freed you to find your real partner. The business that failed that taught you the lessons required for your eventual success. The health crisis that reordered your priorities and gave you years of life you would have otherwise wasted. The universe knew what it was doing all along. The cosmic ledger was balancing with perfect accuracy. You were being compensated in ways you could not yet perceive. This understanding liberates you from one of the most destructive emotional patterns, the holding of grudges and the nursing of resentments. When you understand that every loss contains a gain, you can release the person or situation that caused the loss without bitterness. They were not stealing from you. They were participating in the universe's rebalancing of your accounts. They were not your enemy. They were the instrument through which the universe delivered your compensation in a form you did not expect. This does not excuse their actions if those actions were wrong, but it does free you from the poison of resentment, which is really just the refusal to recognize and claim the compensation that their actions inadvertently provided. Emerson is teaching you to become a master interpreter of life's events. The amateur sees only the surface. The job is lost, therefore bad. The relationship ended, therefore painful. The money is gone, therefore tragic. But the master sees deeper. The job is lost, therefore freedom to find better alignment. The relationship ended, therefore space for truer connection. The money is gone, therefore lesson about what truly creates wealth. The master knows that the universe is not randomly inflicting losses, but systematically rebalancing accounts, and every loss is simultaneously a gain for those with the eyes to see it. Stop mourning the loss. This is not an instruction to suppress your feelings or pretend you don't care. This is an instruction to shift your focus from what is gone to what is present. The loss is real, but so is the gain. The pain is valid, but so is the payment. The ending is genuine, but so is the beginning that the ending has made possible. The universe has already compensated you. The question is whether you will claim your compensation or whether you will remain fixated on what you lost, while the payment that is rightfully yours sits unclaimed in the cosmic ledger, waiting for you to open your eyes and see it. But understanding the gain in loss is only part of the equation. Emerson teaches that to fully leverage the law of compensation, you must develop what might be called absolute trust. This is not religious faith in the conventional sense. This is not blind belief disconnected from reason. This is a confidence based on understanding the mechanism, a certainty that allows you to act with the boldness of a gambler, combined with the peace of a saint. You must be willing to throw your effort into the void with the complete assurance that it will bounce back to you multiplied. This kind of trust is rare because it requires you to act before you see evidence. It demands that you give before you receive. It insists that you create value before compensation appears. To the logical mind trained in cause and effect, this seems backwards. Surely you should see the reward before you invest the effort. Surely you should verify the return before you make the deposit. But this is precisely the consciousness that blocks compensation. The law of compensation operates in reverse to conventional logic. The giving creates the receiving, not the other way around. You must trust before you see, act before you know, give before you get. Consider what this means practically. You are starting a business, and logic tells you to invest only what you can afford to lose, to hold back some security, to keep an escape plan. But absolute trust would have you invest everything, not recklessly, but with the complete confidence that the value you create will be compensated. You are in a job and logic tells you to do only what you are paid to do, to protect your energy, to save something for yourself. But absolute trust would have you give everything you have, knowing that the excess giving creates an imbalance that must be corrected in your favor. This is not foolishness. This is the application of understanding to action. When you truly grasp that the law of compensation is as reliable as gravity, you can act with corresponding boldness. You would not hesitate to step off a curb because you trust gravity will keep your feet on the ground. Why then would you hesitate to create value just because you don't see immediate compensation? You are operating according to an equally reliable law. The compensation is as certain as the ground beneath your feet. The only question is whether you have the trust required to act on that certainty before the evidence appears. Emerson observed that most people live in a constant state of what we might call hustling anxiety. They work hard, yes, but they work with a frantic energy that betrays their fundamental lack of trust in the law. They are constantly checking to see if the compensation is arriving. They are perpetually calculating whether they are getting their due. They are incessantly comparing their rewards to others' rewards. This anxious hustling is exhausting, and ironically, it actually slows the flow of compensation. Why? Because the anxiety itself is evidence of doubt in the law, and doubt creates interference in the very mechanism that is trying to compensate you. The person who works with absolute trust, on the other hand, works with an entirely different energy. They give their effort freely without the constant calculation of return. They create value abundantly, without the anxious checking to see if payment is arriving. They serve excellently, without the fearful wondering if they are being taken advantage of. This is not naivety. This is mastery. They understand that the compensation is automatic, guaranteed by cosmic law, and therefore worrying about it is as pointless as worrying about whether the sun will rise tomorrow. Of course it will, the system is reliable. And so they focus entirely on the work itself, trusting that the rewards will take care of themselves. This trust releases tremendous energy that would otherwise be wasted on worry. Instead of expending mental and emotional resources on anxiety about compensation, the person with absolute trust pours all of their energy into value creation. They are not divided, they are not conflicted, they are not holding back, they give everything, and in that wholehearted giving, they activate the fullest power of the law of compensation. The universe responds to wholehearted action with wholehearted compensation. But it cannot respond fully to the person who is giving with one hand while anxiously grasping with the other. Emerson teaches that this trust is developed through understanding and experience. You begin by understanding the principle intellectually that compensation is law, not hope. Then you test it on a small scale. You give more than you are paid for in some small area and watch for the compensation. When it comes, as it must, your trust increases. You test it on a larger scale. You create value without immediate reward and observe the delayed but multiplied return. Your trust deepens. Over time, through this process of testing and validating, you develop the absolute trust that allows you to act with complete boldness because you have proven to yourself that the law works. This is the path from intellectual understanding to embodied knowing. You cannot force yourself to have absolute trust through willpower alone. You must earn that trust through your own experience of the law's reliability. But you must start somewhere. You must make the first act of trust-based giving. You must create the first bit of value without guaranteed compensation. You must take that initial step into the void, trusting that the law will support you. And when it does, when the compensation comes as promised, you gain the evidence that allows you to take a bigger step next time. This is why Emerson's teaching is so practical. He is not asking you to believe blindly. He is asking you to test intelligently. Try the law, create value, and watch for compensation. Give more than you receive and observe the return. Serve without immediate reward and note the delayed but multiplied payment. Build your trust on evidence, not fantasy. And as your trust grows through validated experience, your ability to act boldly grows with it. Eventually, you reach the point where you can throw your entire effort into any venture with complete confidence, not because you are reckless, but because you are certain of the law. This absolute trust is what separates the truly successful from those who merely get by. The person who gets by gives what they must and takes what they can. They operate from scarcity, always holding back, always protecting themselves, always hedging their bets, and so they create small imbalances in the cosmic ledger that produce small compensations. They earn exactly what they must to survive, but never what they could to thrive. The truly successful person, however, gives far more than necessary because they trust the law will balance the account. They create massive imbalances through their abundance of giving, and so they receive massive compensations in return. The irony is that the path to security is through trust, not through self-protection. The person who holds back to protect themselves creates the very scarcity they fear. The person who gives abundantly because they trust in compensation creates the abundance they seek. The one who operates from fear generates fearful circumstances. The one who operates from trust generates trustworthy results. The external world is always a mirror of the internal consciousness, and so the development of absolute trust is not merely psychological, it is the activation of the very mechanism that produces material abundance. Emerson's final word on this matter is clear. Trust the law as you would trust gravity, mathematics, or any other proven principle of nature. You do not worry that gravity will stop working tomorrow. You do not fret that 2 + 2 will suddenly equal 5. You do not anxiously calculate whether the sun will rise. Why? Because you trust these laws completely. Extend the same trust to the law of compensation. It is equally reliable, equally certain, equally tested. And when you trust it absolutely, you are free to give absolutely, serve absolutely, create absolutely. And in that absolute giving, you trigger absolute compensation. This is not hope, this is law, this is not faith, this is physics. And when you understand it and embody it, you become unstoppable in your ability to create wealth, generate success, and manifest abundance in every area of your life. Now we arrive at the synthesis, the integration of everything Emerson has revealed about the cosmic ledger and the law of compensation. The fundamental truth, repeated in 1,000 different ways throughout his teaching, is this: the books always balance, always, without exception. Without delay, that is not ultimately for your benefit. The universe keeps perfect accounts. You can cheat a man, but you cannot cheat the mathematics of God. This is not a moral statement. It is a description of cosmic architecture. Reality itself is structured to ensure perfect equilibrium. Every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. Every cause produces a corresponding effect. Every bit of value given generates equivalent value received. Every theft creates a debt. Every gift creates a credit. There is no escaping this system. There is no gaming this mechanism. There is no ultimate cheating of these accounts. The universe is the ultimate accountant, and its books never contain errors. The only question is whether you will work in harmony with this system or in opposition to it. The system itself is unchangeable. When you understand this at a deep level, your entire relationship with life transforms. You stop worrying about whether you will be paid because you know payment is guaranteed by the structure of reality itself. You stop resenting those who appear to prosper unfairly because you know their accounts will balance, perhaps in ways invisible to you. You stop feeling victimized by loss because you know every loss contains a compensatory gain. You stop fearing that your efforts will be wasted because you know every genuine effort creates a cosmic debt in your favor that must be settled. This understanding brings a profound peace that is fundamentally different from complacency. It is the peace of someone who has grasped how the game is actually played and knows they cannot lose if they follow the rules. It is the calm of a person who has stopped fighting reality and started flowing with its fundamental structure. It is the confidence of someone who has recognized that the universe itself is their business partner, and their business partner always pays its debts with interest. But this peace does not lead to passivity, quite the opposite. When you know you cannot ultimately lose, you are free to risk everything. When you understand that all genuine effort will be compensated, you can give your absolute maximum without fear. When you grasp that the system is rigged in favor of those who create value, you can pour yourself into value creation without holding back. The certainty of compensation liberates you to serve at the highest level, to give with complete generosity, to work with total dedication. You are not gambling on whether the law will work. You are leveraging a law you know will work with absolute certainty. Ralph Waldo Emerson stands among the great masters of human consciousness precisely because he penetrated to the mathematical heart of reality and revealed its fundamental fairness. His message to you, echoing across the centuries, is one of profound empowerment. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, economics, employers, or other people. You are engaged in a direct transaction with the universe itself, and that transaction is governed by law, not by chance. The compensation you receive is not determined by favoritism, luck, or manipulation. It is determined by one thing only: the value you create. This teaching liberates you from victim consciousness forever. You are not a victim of an unfair world, a rigged economy, or an unjust system. You are a creator engaged with a perfectly just cosmic accounting system. If you are not currently receiving the compensation you desire, you have only two possible explanations. Either you have not yet created sufficient value, or you have created the value but the compensation is still in the accumulation phase, compounding interest before its release. Neither explanation involves unfairness or injustice. Both explanations put the power squarely back in your hands. If you have not created sufficient value, create more. If the compensation is delayed, trust the compounding process and continue creating value. In both cases, the solution is the same. Focus on value creation and trust the law to handle the compensation. This is not complicated. It is not mysterious. It is as straightforward as physics. Value in equals compensation out. Delay equals multiplication. Excessive giving equals excessive receiving. The system is perfectly calibrated, perfectly fair, and perfectly reliable. Emerson empowers you to see that wealth, success, and abundance are not limited resources that must be competed for. They are the automatic byproducts of value creation. If you want more wealth, create more value. If you want greater success, serve more people. If you want increased abundance, give more abundantly. The universe has unlimited resources with which to compensate you. You are not competing with others for a fixed pie. You are each creating your own pie through your own value creation, and the universe supplies the ingredients infinitely to those who know how to bake. This is the message of empowerment that runs through all of Emerson's teaching. You are not powerless. You are not dependent on the whims of others. You are not subject to economic forces beyond your control. You are a sovereign creator engaged in direct transaction with the cosmos itself, and that transaction is governed by laws as reliable as mathematics. Master those laws, work in harmony with them, and you become literally unstoppable in your ability to generate any level of abundance you desire. But Emerson also issues a warning, disguised as encouragement. You cannot receive what you are not prepared to handle. The universe wants to compensate you magnificently, but it will not give you what would destroy you. This is not limitation, it is protection. As you develop your capacity to create value, you simultaneously develop your capacity to receive compensation. As you expand your consciousness, You expand your ability to hold and manage wealth. As you refine your character, you refine your capacity to wield power without being corrupted by it. The development and the compensation rise together. This means that every moment you spend developing yourself, educating yourself, disciplining yourself, expanding your consciousness, refining your character, is a moment spent increasing your capacity to receive. You are not delaying your success by investing in self-development. You are ensuring that when success comes, you can handle it. You are not postponing your wealth by working on yourself. You are preparing yourself to receive and multiply wealth when it arrives. The universe is not slow to compensate you. It is carefully matching the magnitude of compensation to your capacity to receive it without self-destruction. And so we arrive at the final challenge, the ultimate call to action that Emerson extends to those who have followed his teaching to this point. You now understand the law of compensation. You now know that the cosmic ledger exists and keeps perfect accounts. You now grasp that compensation is not hope, but certainty, not possibility, but inevitability. The question that remains is not whether the law works, but whether you will work with the law. The question is not whether you will be compensated, but how magnificently you will choose to be compensated through the magnitude of value you choose to create. Check your balance. This is not metaphor. This is practical instruction. Examine your life with the eyes of an accountant looking at the cosmic ledger. How much value have you created? How much have you given without immediate return? How much have you served beyond what was required? These are your deposits. They are accumulating interest even now. The payment is not merely coming, it is due. You have created an imbalance in the cosmic accounts, and that imbalance must be corrected in your favor. The universe is already preparing your compensation. Your job now is to position yourself to receive it. Are you ready to collect? This is the crucial question. Have you developed the consciousness to receive without being destroyed by the receiving? Have you expanded your capacity to match your cosmic balance? Have you prepared yourself to be a proper steward of the abundance that is rightfully yours? The wealth is coming. The success is manifesting. The opportunities are arranging themselves. But if you're not ready to receive them, if your consciousness is still contracted in scarcity, if your character is still unprepared for stewardship, then the compensation that should flow to you will be redirected to someone else who is ready. The preparation is as important as the value creation. You must develop both simultaneously. As you create value in the external world, create consciousness in the internal world. As you serve others with your work, serve yourself with your development. As you give to the world, give to yourself the gift of growth, learning, and expansion. Then, when the compensation releases, and it must release, for the law demands it, you will be ready not just to receive, but to multiply what you receive. Emerson extends to you a challenge that is simultaneously an invitation and a declaration. Write in the comments, "I am paid in full." This is not merely a statement of hope or intention. This is a declaration of truth based on understanding the law. You are paid in full in the cosmic ledger. The balance shows a massive surplus in your favor if you have been creating value consistently. The payment is not pending, it is processed. The compensation is not delayed, it is compounding. The settlement is not in doubt, it is guaranteed. When you write, "I am paid in full," you are not hoping it is true. You are declaring what is already true in the dimension of cause, even if it has not yet manifested in the dimension of effect. You are aligning your consciousness with the reality that already exists in the cosmic ledger. You are claiming your compensation with the authority of someone who knows the law and has fulfilled the law's requirements. You are speaking from the certainty of knowledge, not the uncertainty of hope. Let the settlement arrive. This is not passivity. This is positioned receptivity. You have done the work. You have created the value. You have made the deposits. You have developed your capacity. Now you stand in the posture of someone ready to receive, not grasping, not anxious, not desperate, but ready, open, and expectant. The farmer who has planted and tended does not frantically dig up the soil to check on the seeds. He waits with confident expectation, knowing the harvest must come because he has fulfilled the requirements for harvest. You have fulfilled the requirements. The value has been created. The effort has been expended, the service has been rendered, the cosmic debt in your favor has been established and recorded with perfect accuracy. The law of compensation is not a hope or a theory. It is the fundamental architecture of reality, as certain as mathematics, as reliable as physics. The books must balance, the accounts must settle, the compensation must arrive. This is not optimism, this is fact. And so the final word is this: the cosmic ledger has been examined. Your account shows a massive balance in your favor. The payment has been authorized, the resources are being gathered, the channels are being opened. Your compensation is not merely coming, it is here waiting only for you to claim it, with the consciousness of someone who knows they are already wealthy, already successful, already abundant in the dimension that creates all material manifestation. You are paid in full. The settlement has arrived. The only question is whether you will collect. I am paid in full.